Hey guys, Elements here again. As I said last time, I wanted to make another quick video showing you tips to enhance your enhancement. Just a few tricks that I've picked up that can help you push a little bit more damage. These tricks aren't really gonna push you through the roof. Like if you're doing 40k, you're not all of a sudden gonna do like 60, but you know, it'll give you a few extra thousand DPS, and everyone is all about that. So here's just 4 little things I wanted to talk about. Things that I think are pretty important in at least HFC, if not general gameplay right now. One, and this is going to be a general gameplay thing, all melee DPS, really all DPS. Key to maximizing your damage for any DPS class is maximizing your uptime. Now for melee, that means staying in range, melee range. Easy enough said, or, you know, that makes sense. However, it's a little bit harder said than done. What it really involves, you know, knowing the fight, being comfortable with a fight, knowing your tanks, and anticipating where they're going to move your targets. Where they are going to move and when they are going to move, to always be ready for it. So you, as they move away, you want to always stay in range, to always, you know, keep attacking, keeping your rotation going, and also your auto attacks, because at this point I think just about every melee class in the game, every spec, gains some benefit from your auto attacks. And I don't mean like white damage, I mean that white damage, your white attacks, generating something for your character. For enhancement, it's Maelstrom. So the added damage, you know, uptime of continuing your rotation, plus increasing your Maelstrom stacks, which in HFC is more important than ever, which I'm a big fan of. So that's one thing. It's worth saying, which is why I said it, but just keep in mind. Okay, the second thing, totemic projection. This is something that probably not many shamans are comfortable using. It's like, oh, this is a PvP thing, and yes, it is. Throwing out your cap totem to stun, you know, enemies or whatever. The application in raiding is still extremely good. Mostly it involves moving your fire totem around. So the majority of the time you're probably going to be using Searing Totem. Now Searing Totem has a range of, well, that says 251 yards, which that's not true. That would be across the map, but it's like 40 yards or something. So it has a long range, but why would you want to, you know, take up an entire talent, totemic projection, just to be able to move this around? Well, moving it, using that talent, is off the global cooldown. So that means, like, if I'm, okay, so let me put magma totem down, it's easier to see. So if I want to move it over here onto this path, let me just show you, it's off the global cooldown, so I'm going to hard cast a lightning bolt and move it over here. Boop, it's there. You know, it didn't take up any global space. So you're able to just continue your rotation completely unimpeded and move your fire totem around. And that's great because it allows you to get a full duration out of your fire totem. Your fire totems last for a minute. You know, yeah, all of them do actually. They last for a minute, so get your full duration, save that global of, oh, the boss moved 20 yards to the left. I'm going to waste an entire global to put down a new Searing Totem. So it saves that global. Another important thing, liquid magma. I've mentioned this in another video. If your liquid magma is going, and it, you know, it's attacking over here. Oh, the boss moves, you know, 40 yards over to the right. Boom. Okay, it's attacking from this side. So it's no longer out of range, because if your liquid magma is out of range, that is such a massive damage loss. Liquid magma is, it's so important to your damage. It's like top 4 highest damage abilities. It's hard to say once you get Soul Capacitor, because it throws off all your damage statistics, because everything gets absorbed and multiplied together into like one massive effect. But besides that, it's really important, and that kind of leads into another thing, talking about soul capacitor, liquid magma becomes even more important and crucial to your damage with the soul capacitor proc. So this is something you might not really think about, but again, we're talking about maximizing your damage. If you hit liquid magma, okay, they're going, and then you melee, oh, okay, now your trinket procced. This is all getting absorbed, and then it expires. All of this that's still there's a time in which it travels from the totem to your target. So everything when that trinket expires that's in travel time will not get absorbed, and any little bit that's not absorbed ends up being not a significant damage loss, but you know, fairly sizable, because the trinket proc is ridiculously crucial to our damage, to our DPS. Ends up being quite often like between 15 and 30% of our total damage on a boss fight, which is ridiculous. But anyways, so that being said, the benefit of having totemic projection, your trinket pops, you can move your fire totem in without impeding your rotation, move it in straight on top of the boss, so there's little to no travel time. So all of your liquid magmas just instantly pop where you want it to, and it's all popping during your capacitor trinket proc. So that's just two big reasons why totemic projection, I think, is just mandatory for rating, for enhance. Okay, so now I wanted to bring this up because I guarantee you I'm going to ask this question and none of you are going to know this, because I don't care who you are. If you've been playing a shaman for the past 10 years, you're not going to know this question. And if you say you do, you're just like full of shit. You're lying. If I ask you this, answer truthfully. If you put down an earth totem, where does it come on your character? Like, does it come down on the bottom left? Does it come down on the bottom right, or top left? Same thing with your fire, same thing with your air, same thing with your water. Well, to be honest, the water and earth doesn't fucking matter. I don't care about that shit. The radius for that stuff doesn't really matter. Earthbind's like 10-yard radius, but who cares? What I'm really concerned with is your magma totem. It has an 8-yard range, and where it comes down around your character, I mean, that's a couple of yards right there. So where do your fire totems come down? If you answered bottom left, no, you're fucking wrong. It's top left. And how about your air totems? Because remember, the other primary radius totem that we have is capacitor stun. So it has, I think it's like an 8-yard radius as well. Where does that come down? Well, it is a grounding totem, but it shows you it's your bottom left of your character. So I'm going to get rid of those totems. You want to stun something? Think it comes down on your bottom left. Totemic project. Put it here? Nope. We want to put it up here. There, right on top of the boss. So that's exactly where you want to put it. And same thing with your magma totem. It has an 8-yard range, which is larger than what you think, but still keep in mind, if there's lots of adds and they're fairly spread out, you want to place your totem where it's going to hit the vast majority of the people, because look at this. I want you to just see something. Look how much damage that this magma totem is doing. This is just 3 targets. It's hitting for like 1100 there, it's critting for 2300, and then there's all kinds of multi-strikes. And this is just on 3 targets. And this is something that there's no manage. You put it down once, you put it down in the place that you want, you observe where it is compared to where all the other targets are if they move around. Use your totemic project to move it. And then, just watch that damage. It's significant damage. So that's one reason why you want to use your magma totem. But now the placement of it, it's also important. So as I said, an 8-yard range. Let's figure out what that 8-yard range is. Still hitting everything. Alright, It's right about there. Yep, one step in, and there it is again. So that's an 8-yard range right there. It's 8 yards exactly from the center target, and these other ones are about 9 yards away. So if I go in just a little bit, yep, there it is. It's hitting everything again. So, you know, that's about 7 to 8 yard range right there. So, I mean, there you go. That's a pretty big radius. That's basically like, follow me around this totem here. That's like this, you know, relatively. You know, it's a fairly big radius. But again, knowing it, you know, placing it properly to hit the maximum number of targets, that's what we're talking about. That's what you want to do. So just bear that in mind too. Really the last thing I want to talk about, I mentioned it in the 6.2 HFC video, once you get your 4 set, it's so amazing. You're able to go back to Unleash Fury, and I can't tell you how much I love it. And my initial thoughts about the set bonuses, I was most excited about the 2 set. Really the 2 set buffing our AoE damage, it's, you know, it's a good extra bit of damage, but really the 4 set, it buffs our single target just such a good amount. Again, why does it do it? It allows you every single time that you cast Lightning Bolt, you cast it under the window of Unleashed Fury, an extra 30% damage for your Lightning Bolt. So that extra 30% damage is significant for single target fights. So again, it takes management. You always want to stay up over 5 stacks, just as much as possible. Really, because you never want to cast Lightning Bolt under 5 stacks, because at 5 stacks it gains an extra, you know, 100% damage bonus, and so, you know, you always want to cast it around that. So secondly, you know, first off, never cast it under 5 stacks, or try to minimize that. Secondly, never ever cast it without this buff going. But you'll find it's so easy to do that. You know, it sounds not difficult, but, you know, management, whatever, it's easy to do. We don't generate Maelstrom that quickly, that like it's, you know, panic mode. What it was before, like you could go from 0 to 5 stacks instantly, and it's like, oh my god, I need to stop everything I do to cast this Lightning Bolt to get rid of these charges. We're not really as worried about that anymore. You can always comfortably cast Lightning Bolt in your rotation when you want during your window. I like to think of this as, like, I don't know if it's currently true for Warriors, but when I dicked around in my Warrior last expansion in Mists of Pandaria, Arms, Colossal Smash, you had when you use Colossal Smash, you had a window in which you're like supposed to Fury Dump or something. Well, it's kind of similar. When you use it, you have a window in which you can unload all your Maelstrom. Never cast Lightning Bolt outside of that window, but you can use it whenever you want inside that window. So again, you want to stay around 5 stacks, not only, as I said, because it's going to boost your Lightning Bolt damage, but it's also boosting your 2 set, your Electrocution. Every Maelstrom you gain hits everything around you. Again, I'm just using single target effects here. Let me get rid of this little Spirit Shift. So this damage that you're seeing that goes on to these training dummies around me, right there, that's all Electrocute, because I'm just using single target damage. So as I gain Maelstrom, it's proccing. And you can see, okay, now I'm at full stacks. It's still hitting them. But really, you know, being at least 5 stacks, it's, you know, your Electrocute's going to gain the most amount of damage, you know, an extra 100% nature damage. So, you know, stay around 5 stacks as much as possible. Don't hit 10, but try not to dip below 5. One last thing I want to caution you enhanced players with: switching targets. Switching targets, you know, tempted to just always just dish out a Lightning Bolt, you know, from range if it's an instant cast, Chain Lightning, whatever. Just be aware. This is basic enhanced gameplay, but Storm Strike. Storm Strike grants your nature spells an additional 25% to critically strike. massive critical strike bonus. Bonus chance, I should say. So if you switch targets quickly and throw out a lightning bolt, it has a 25% less chance to critically strike, and that's no bueno. So just always caution yourself. You know, always be telling yourself, does this guy have Storm Strike debuff? If yes, alright, he's ready to receive a lightning bolt. If not, then maybe you should hold off. Again, you don't want to sit out 10 stacks ever, but it's not hard not to. Be cognizant of your stacks, switching targets, be like, okay, I need to put Storm Strike on, it's on, now I can throw lightning bolt. So yeah, that's just a few quick tips I wanted to go over. I'm sure there'll be more to come. Enhance is in a fairly good place right now. Soul capacitors are by far our best in slot trinket. Our next best in slot, sadly I do not have it, but it's Mirror of the Mirror Edge of the Blade Master or whatever. It's off of Council. Don't have it yet. Another crazy damage buff, but I'll probably give more feedback on that as soon as I get it. Our class trinket, that's really not that great. I shouldn't be saying that until I eventually get it myself, but I can tell you it's not as good as Mirror. Not even close. So the two trinkets you should be aiming for, at least in normal, heroic, and obviously if you're doing mythic, you probably shouldn't even be watching this. I'm sure I haven't told you anything you don't already know, but keep an eye out for Soul Capacitor and Mirror. But there you go. Hit me up sometimes, guys, if you have any questions. Catch you next time.